Oh, sorry. Just starting the recording again, David.
Right, thank you. I hope that wasn't ridiculously rushed. I'm sure it was rushed, but I hope it refreshed you in terms of just thinking about that's your assessment is about getting you to that stage where you know enough to be able to have a sense of where the person's comparative strengths and challenges are. But I suppose the bit that I'm adding on for you to encourage you to think about is try not just think about people as separate chunks of need. Try and think about how those areas are connecting. MOHO is a systems-based model. So it argues that one part of the system is dynamically interrelated to all the others. So it's quite challenging to try and unpick that, but it's worth just thinking a bit more dynamically about what you're finding from those assessments. Going to skim through this case formulation stuff. So this is the next stage. So after you've done that kind of work there, where you've started to pull together your assessment, this is where you go next, I would suggest. So in our assessment, effectively we are deconstructing or disassembling a person into separate chunks of information. So in the MOHO's 24 chunks of information we are disassembling a person into, in order to try and find out what aspects are working well, what is not working so well. So in doing so, we're unearthing quite a lot of complex information. In the case formulation, what you're trying to do is reassemble the person by summarising what you've discovered in a clear and concise way that helps us and also helps them understand why they're having problems doing things. Case formulation is an art and it's a skill that really takes practice to be able to. OTs, like a lot of health professionals, are not good at concise, not good at pulling things together in a clear, short, brief, punchy way. And that's what these formulations are trying to distill our assessment down to. Three things. Who is the person? So what's their occupational identity? By which we're usually talking about their roles and their values, the things that are important to them. And Volition will tell us a lot about someone's identity. So think roles and goals. So for example, Fred is a 53-year-old divorced plumber who wants to return to work following a depressive illness. That's a kind of who statement to just orient the reader a bit to who we're talking about. Yeah. The what bit is, what are the doing problems? How effective is the person in putting their identity or their preferred identity into practice? So this will probably be in the language of self-care, productivity, and leisure. How are they functioning in those areas? And then the why bit is where we bring in our MOHO to try and understand why they're having those challenges. What are the volitional, habituational, skill, and environment factors that are causing the doing problems? So this is about more than simply commenting on what people can or can't do, but it's providing a dynamic analysis, hopefully, as we've just been thinking about then, about what some of those challenges are and how they're kind of working together to impair the person's functioning. If any of you want to have a go at case formulation, maybe finish the work you've just started there, and if you want to have a go at it and send me, I'm very happy to have a look at those. Right, so we're now on to intervention. So intervention from a MOHO point, well, OT intervention generally is about enabling individuals to overcome the barriers to occupation that we've identified through our assessment. And since MOHO is a systems-based model, as I've just said, all the areas are interrelated. And as such, an improvement in one area will probably have a positive impact on the other areas. So in terms of intervention, it doesn't really matter where you start. That's the liberating thing. You don't have to target. And one of the things I didn't get you to think about was when you start doing the arrows in your diagram there to think about where the connections are, sometimes you will see a clear epicenter, a place where a lot of the challenges are emanating from. Generally speaking, in mental health, the epicenter, you won't be surprised to hear, is probably going to be in volition. If you're talking about, if we were a bunch of general hospital OTs, probably the epicenter is going to be motor, the motor skill. Something has happened physically to impair the person's functioning. For us in mental health, oversimplification, but the epicenter is often going to be volition. But you don't necessarily have to target the epicenter head on. So what we're trying to do is reverse negative dynamics that we've got set up. So, for example, if someone lacks personal causation, you've got low self-esteem, maybe anxiety and so on, you could tackle it head on using something like CBT or other psychotherapeutic interventions. But maybe as an OT, we'll often be addressing those confidence issues by enhancing someone's skills or enhancing someone's routine so that they're able to start experiencing small successes and reversing the cycle of failure that's often associated with a significant mental health condition. So the skill and the art of OT, let's do that, okay. So let's skip that slide. So yeah, it's got that slide there, that's what I just said. And then, so the skill and the art of OT is in using our understanding of the person's volitional profile on the one hand, and their skills on the other hand, and then bringing those two elements together into a lifestyle, habituation in other words, that meets their needs. So we're now going to, I've sent you one of the other attachments that you might want to have a quick look at is something called the MOHO master table, which just guides you a bit in terms of the whole area of intervention. So if you've got a person that has challenges in a particular area, what are some of the interventions that you might want to consider from a MOHO perspective? And it talks you through all the different parts of MOHO, and it gives you some suggested interventions that might help in that area. So that's one of the attachments that I sent you. But we're going to break out again now, and we're going to think about motivational strategies now. As I said, motivation is a common challenge for a lot of our service users, and MOHO has a lot to say about motivation. So in your breakout groups, we're going to think about what strategies are you currently using to try and engage someone who lacks motivation, and then secondly, how do you think MOHO can help with the whole area of motivational engagement? So this will just be until 10:02, so just about 7 minutes, just a very brief checking in with one another, what you're currently doing to try and enhance motivation, and what do you think MOHO can do to help. So just a very quick catch up this time.
Joe, you're on mute.
I'll send an announcement when you've got a couple of minutes left. Apologies.
So are people in groups now, Joe?
They're going slowly.
Okay, cool.
And they are all in groups.
Right.
So I'm going to practice this announcement thing, or I'm going to stop recording